Welcome to the Joel Henderson Show, Game of Thrones, a special on the same day as Game of Thrones episode. Holy shit, we're topical, Jeremy.
Almost immediately following.
I mean, sooner than for some people, I imagine.
Yeah, we did.
I'm not one who's ever watched Game of Thrones on actual HBO until, basically stealing HBO Go from my parents. Before that moment, I had never watched it when it was on, so I'm not sure when it even actually airs. I
9
assume
o'clock.
It's 9
9 o'clock on Sundays.
For fuck's sake! I just.
What's going on with your song?
Why
man?
is it playing again?
Technical difficulty.
No shit.
You gotta get the little NBC that pops up on like 30 Rock.
Wow, that's
Welcome
weird.
To the Joel Henderson Show.
What in the hell is going on right now? We're hearing us
on the same day as Game of Thrones episode. Holy shit, we're topical, Jeremy.
This is the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
I mean, sooner than for some people, I imagine.
There we go. I just had the. Sorry about that, people. That was fucking weird.
That was your producer's mistake over there.
No shit. I had the
guy with all the shit
live
that's in
page up. I had the comeuppance.com/live page open, and earlier I had clicked play on the video that I had embedded there, and it just started playing. So that's how delayed we are, or people are from hearing us.
Well, that was almost.
That was like a minute.
A minute.
Yeah. Not bad.
Well, anyway, welcome to the show, people.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Episode. Look at this. I know the fucking name of the episode.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
First of his name. Boom. Season 4, episode 5. First of his name, which I really figured would play into more. I mean, it played into the beginning part of the episode, but I thought it was really bigger.
I knew it was going to be about Tommen.
Yeah.
Tommen.
I mean, I knew it was going to be about that, but I just thought it would be more
meaning to it.
I thought that would take on a bigger meaning than it did. Like, I guess it's just teasing it for now.
You know what? While we go through the scenes, let's see if we can pick out any more meaning to it.
So it started with Tommen's coronation. And,
right.
I mean, that's basically just where we dive in. And
a complete opposite conversation of what I thought that Cersei and...
that Marjorie and her were
am I skipping ahead too far? But yeah, is that something like...
The next thing I had was
really
Cersei's.
thought that was not... I mean, like totally thought Cersei would be completely against her marrying him or being anywhere involved. I don't know why I thought that, but I just totally thought that she would not be like okay with that. But that conversation went completely opposite of what I thought it would be.
Yeah, was she for Marjorie and Joffrey being a thing?
Yeah, well, yeah, because of the Lannisters and the what they needed with the Tyrells to do anything to further their family.
Yeah,
yeah, you know.
But I mean,
she was on board with
her at one point, right?
Yeah, but it was before Joffrey's death, and I think Joffrey's death might have seeing Cersei seeing a little more her.
Yeah.
This episode, you can tell. I think maybe Joffrey's death may have affected her.
Yeah, well,
in a way that in an unexpected way.
She was talking to Marjorie, and like you said, it was kind of the opposite of what you expected. She's like, "So you're gonna do this, right? Like, do you want to be queen still? Are you interested? The job's still out there. We don't have a position. We don't have it filled." And then she talks about Joffrey and. She says that Marjorie basically did good. She helped with Joffrey.
She said, "Do I look easily shocked?"
Yeah. Well, then she said the things he did shocked me, and then do I look easily shocked? The things he did shocked me.
Right. It was.
It necessitated her saying it about 4 fucking times.
Right. I mean, good lines
to get the point across. Yeah. What struck me as hilarious was the next thing that they said to each other about that they both basically had to go ask their dad if it was cool.
That was pretty funny. Yeah. I
I'm
didn't
gonna
know
go check with my dad.
Okay.
I'll check with my dad too. Okay.
Who was later in the episode referred to by the same person as the most powerful man alive.
And who is that?
Tywin.
Oh. Yeah.
Cersei said that later in the episode. The most powerful man alive.
Yeah. I don't know.
Tywin?
I don't know. Well, we haven't gotten there. We haven't gotten there yet. We will get there.
He did send the most powerful man in Westeros to bed without his supper.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
They both have to ask their dad's permission, and then she says basically she doesn't know whether to call her sister or mother.
I mean, I think that was a little bit of a shot because of what she said to her at that right before, was it? I can't remember what episode it was, but she called her sister, and then Circe basically told her the story of the reigns of Castamere and said, if you ever call me sister again, I'll have you strangled in your sleep. And she looked right at her, and I think she said it on purpose because of that prior comment.
Well, I think she was feeling her out. I think she was seeing how shitty if she was still being catty or if she was like finally on board. I think
that might have been part of it, but as well as a shot. Like it might have been all mixed in together in the same meaning.
Well, yeah,
you know what
I mean, what does she have to lose at this point?
Really?
The fact that she's asking her to be the queen still is pretty weird.
Like I said, a completely opposite direction of where I thought they would go.
Mm-hmm. So then we go to Daenerys planning an attack, and I don't know. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Man, I gotta admit, like during that, I was a little distracted during that scene, and I missed some of it. I kind of caught Gerard telling her that.
Well, yeah, she joked about not listening to him before and how it worked out in Karth or whatever, and that she needs to be more than the mother of dragons, and she's going to stay and rule.
Basically, but what I'm saying, but he was telling her that all the things that she had liberated and what had happened since.
Yeah, and about the butcher guy that
took over the first
things.
city that she overthrew their council that they put in place.
Oh, he was. I thought they were talking about in the city that they're at now. So he was talking about one of the previous places.
Astapor is the city.
Okay, I didn't catch that.
He kind of went over the previous couple of places they had been.
Yeah,
and kind of said what had happened to them since they had left, and there weren't good things. I don't think. Like I said, I missed some of it. That scene, I'm a little short on that scene. I gotta admit, I was hearing some child screaming in the background, and it wasn't
had to pause for a child break, a child rearing. Well, she's gonna stay there. I don't think she's going anywhere for a long time,
dude. I mean, really, like, what's the point? Why?
Where is she gonna go?
She doesn't have enough troopers or enough people at this point to try to take over Westeros. And the thing I thought about during that scene was the kingdom of old Valyria. Is like kind of where her people came from. The Valyrians are the people who first tamed the dragons, and which is why their empire was so huge. And it was eventually killed off. They were eventually kind of like a meteor fell from the sky. They called it the Doom.
Okay.
And it fell on their main kingdom and pretty much destroyed their civilization and all records of it and whatnots. And basically, it's all just legend at this point. But I could see her starting that empire. Is basically in the same area where she's at right now as where the old Valyrian Empire used to be.
So you're thinking she might want to restart
she's
it.
She's kind of rekindling with her three dragons, starting over with the
the Valyrian spirit, as it were.
Yeah.
Okay.
And starting the whole new empire.
That's nearly a prediction.
Nearly, yeah. I mean, I guess so, but I can see that's like when I looked at that map. And saw where she was in location, actual location,
compared to where everybody else
was. Yeah. I was like, man, there's no way she's not going to be there. If she even does get there, it's going to be at the very, very end.
It's definitely
she's going to be
the
years
end.
Down the road from even being close to there. And now in this episode, it did kind of sound like she's not worried about Westeros.
I think she's going to be here for a while.
He made a good point. Gerard made a good point. He said 10,000 or 8,000 unsullied and 2,000 second sons going into Blackwater Bay is probably enough to take King's Landing, but you're not trying to take King's Landing.
Yeah,
you're trying to take the seven
kingdoms. Yeah.
So she should make a smart move for now and build her little empire there on the other side of the world.
Yeah. I think she finally has to settle and rule, like she said.
Yeah,
she's got to see what it's like now to be in charge, because if she's going to come and take over eventually.
Well, the thing is like I think it made her decide that, like when he was telling her all the stuff that had happened. Like, I'm liberating all these cities. I don't want to let everybody go back to just how they were, how I used to. So I'm going to start laying down my law here.
And
spreading it out, and this is what's going on, and this is how things are going to be here. Not anymore. She needs to take over. That whole place is called Slavers Bay, like all those cities where they're at. Yeah.
Well, let's see. Then I have Littlefinger and Sansa, and that they were going to the Eyrie, and he smuggled her in as his niece Elaine. The gross lady and breastfeeder, and she gave a shitty face during a hug with Sansa.
But it was like a hidden shitty face. Like she changed her face when she was leaning over their shoulder, hugging her.
When nobody else was on the other side, yeah. And then Little Douche, who I later found out was called Robin, talks all about Sansa's troubles and Tyrion. You know, she's like, "Oh, is it true that your dad,
but just
that
so
your dad was killed?"
Right, as if a little kid would do, right?
Yeah, it was really weird. And then he ended up going over and throwing the thing that Littlefinger bought him.
The gift, right? Just threw it right out the hole.
They just leave the fucking hole open? I mean, that's a badass room and everything with that hole in the floor like that. But Jesus Christ, you just leave it fucking open? Somebody could trip. You trip and you're dead.
Well, I mean,
you're flying.
I mean, if you look closely, there is kind of a wall around it, but the opening's sort of
still
large. Yeah, I mean, like if you're one of the guys that's cleaning up, and you just take a step down the.
You're listening to your iPod, for example,
right?
And you're sweeping, and then you accidentally, next thing you know, you're flying, and you're dead. That's how it happens. Take care of close your holes, people. If you have a hole in your floor that leads over a big empty canyon, close
the door.
Just close it.
Right.
Public service announcement.
Westeros public service announcement.
Then I have poor Littlefinger having to make out with the gross lady.
The disgust
What's her name?
on
Do you
his
know?
face.
Jesus, that look on his face was like.
I do not know her name.
He's like that.
We'll refer to her as Yellow Teeth. Littlefinger and
just
Yellow
gross
Teeth.
lady. I just have gross lady. So let's see. He told poor Littlefinger having to make out with gross lady. He told her to kill her husband, John something.
Man, that was a big reveal. I think.
It?
Well, because they had.
It just basically means that Littlefinger's been pulling shit for a long time
from the very beginning, from what we saw.
Yeah,
like that. That was the first time we saw Jaime and Cersei. The very first time we ever saw them on screen was at his funeral. At John Arryn's funeral in episode 1.
So I see.
That was orchestrated.
I didn't know he died.
We always thought the Lannisters did that.
And was that what she said to the?
Well, she sent that letter to Cat Stark saying that the Lannisters had made the attempt on.
And that's the other thing that she said.
And that's what kind of set everything in motion. Like Ned Stark going to King's Landing. I mean, everything. Like. That was a huge reveal for me. Like I thought that was huge.
Yeah.
Like,
so Littlefinger is a bigger player than we ever could have imagined.
Player than
he just killed the king, and he basically killed Ned Stark, and he killed.
He basically set
Cat
all of that
Stark
in motion.
And Robb Stark and.
Did he have anything to do with the Red Wedding? I mean, but still, I mean,
he set the emotion.
It really all leads back to that.
That's
event.
what I mean.
Like,
he set
the death
all that
of John Arryn, the death of the Hand of the King. That brought Ned Stark to King's Landing to be Hand. I mean, really, wow! Like that was a huge reveal.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that she killed her own husband too,
she was
based on the promise of some Littlefinger dick. Do you really want to give up your husband for somebody named Littlefinger? That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
just consider your options. Unless you've checked to make sure the finger is not little, you may want to not just dump your husband. His name's Littlefinger. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, dude, but. Littlefinger or I mean she just I mean like I don't know, she's gross, dude.
Yeah, he kisses her to shut her up and agrees to marry her tonight, and then we smash cut to Sansa in bed hearing her aunt scream.
Yeah,
I just pictured her face, the aunt's face, and it's just
Stop, man. I'm going to go on vacation with my wife for a week.
Shit.
I don't want that chick's face.
Okay, so Cersei, and for some reason I could not think of her dad's name. And still can't right now. Tywin? Yeah, I could not think of it.
That's where we go to from there.
So, yeah, Cersei and Tywin discussing Tommen's marriage, and then he says, or she was asking basically, do you trust the Tyrells? And he says, you don't need to make formal alliances with people you trust.
Right.
I thought that was pretty good.
Good line.
The Tyrells are their only true rivals. The mines ran dry, and the crown owes a tremendous amount. How much? A tremendous amount.
To the Iron Bank of Bravos.
Yeah. And, yeah.
He explains kind of what the Iron Bank of Bravos
basically,
is.
it's the mob. You don't fuck with them.
You don't fuck with the Iron Bank of Bravos.
There's no excuses. You're not going to get away with there's no way out of it, basically. If you owe them money, you're going to have to pay. If the Lannisters always pay their debts.
It's been one of the
they're kind
lines.
of fucked.
I think they are a little bit.
Although Baratheons are the kings, not Lannisters.
Well, but it's still all funded by the Lannisters.
I know, but the Lannisters don't have to pay that debt. That's not their own debt. So he said the crown
owes them.
That's what I'm saying. The Baratheon
But the crown was being funded by the gold from Casterly Rock, which apparently
has run dry years ago.
3 years ago, didn't he say? 3 years ago?
That's crazy. So they
that was
don't
a good
have
big
any money.
reveal too, right there. So the Lannisters
really
aren't quite as
rich as
they're made out to be. Mm-hmm. It's all on credit, bitches.
Yeah, I mean, and if everything can,
that was a little loud. I'm sorry about that.
Everything can change just like that. Then, if they're not financially in charge, why is Tywin that powerful anymore? He's not. That's why what you were saying earlier was like, well, is he? You know.
Well, I mean, he's perceived as.
Yeah.
Perception is reality in this world.
Yeah. And they don't. Definitely. Nobody else knows this.
Right.
But
that's what I'm saying. Like, as far as in this world goes, what you see is what you get. You know what I mean? Like, he's the hand of the king and the leader of the Lannisters. You know? And it's just.
And the new one's wrapped around his finger already. Tommen.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Loves his papa.
Loves good old Papa Tywin
his
there. Papa Tywin.
Cersei ends the conversation saying, "What does Tyrion deserve? You know, what does he deserve for killing the king? What does he? Because she's still convinced that he did it." And then she leaves.
You're right. Yeah. Okay.
Arya is speaking her list before she goes to sleep, and then it ends up the Hound is on her list, and he hears her say.
That was a funny little scene. Yeah. The way he told her to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And then she goes, "I'm just repeating the name of all the people I'm going to kill, and you're going to kill every fucking person in Westeros."
Names of every person in Westeros. That guy's great.
We cut to, he mentioned the Hound, and that made me laugh because I was like, how are they going to recognize him? There's been 3 fucking people that have played him.
But that's the Mountain.
The Mountain, that's what I mean.
The Hound's always been the same guy.
Yeah, the Mountain.
I'm not sure, yeah. But, he hasn't had very long scenes. No. His longest scene was in episode 1.
Yeah, with the fight thing.
Or the season 1.
Yeah. Then we go to Sansa eating dinner. Littlefinger brought lemons for Sansa, which made what's-her-name, gross lady, jealous. And she started, squeezing her. And then she was kind of asking her about Littlefinger, trying to feel it out. And it was almost like she was trying to get her to... I thought she was going to say that Littlefinger loved Sansa. But I know he always loved Kat. But I kind of get the vibe that he's into Sansa,
I think he is, though, for sure.
So I think he was into her.
And I think I get the vibe that he's going to have his wife offed.
Oh, yeah. He's going to take over her shit.
Yeah.
So she started squeezing Sansa's hands. I put jealous much. And then she says Sansa should marry Robin. And then she pulled her closer to her, and I just thought, here, take a tit and relax.
That's gross.
Just suck a tit. Gross. Just suck a tit.
I'm so glad that they didn't when they showed him when they cut to him he was laying on her chest, but I was like, oh, come on, I don't want to see that. That kid's fucking 15, dude. I don't want to see that.
It's weird. It's definitely weird. Let's see. Then we go to is it Brienne?
Yeah, Lady Brienne.
Brienne and Podrick, and she doesn't want a squire, and he's too loyal to leave. That was basically the gist of that scene. I mean,
it was pretty.
I don't even think that wasn't even before when she came around to him yet. We're not even to that scene yet. That was literally just that. He's too loyal to.
And he's riding his horse all funny back and forth. That was the scene, right?
Yeah, he sucks at riding a horse, and we're going to be doing this for 17 days. I think she said.
She said weeks. It could take weeks.
Yeah, this could take forever. So. But he doesn't.
But they're headed to the Vale. Yeah. They're headed to the same place that we just left, Littlefinger.
Yeah. So we end up, and the Hound wakes up, and Arya is seemingly gone, and she is practicing water dancing. And the Hound asks her what the hell she's doing. She explains that the greatest swordsman that ever lived taught me how to do this, and then has to explain about his demise, to which the Hound says, the greatest swordsman that ever lived didn't have a sword.
That's a good line. But the way he was laughing at her was great.
And then Arya, I don't know why he asked her to stab him, but...
He didn't.
What did he say? What the fuck did the Hound say to her?
He said something to her, like, you're not killing anybody or something like that. And she turned around and tried to stab him, for real.
I thought he asked her to do that.
I don't think so.
And then, if
he did ask her to do that, then I didn't catch that. Okay. I thought she said something to her and pissed her off, and she tried to stab him, for real.
Huh.
And it didn't go through his armor.
Yeah. Well, then she fucking slapped her. Yeah, he slapped the shit out of her. Then we go to the Red Viper, who has 8 daughters.
Has he ever been referred to as such in the show?
No, I can't ever remember the other fucking name, and I'm
Oberyn,
not gonna
Prince Oberyn.
I know. I'm not gonna butcher
but
it.
No, that's okay. I like the Red Viper. It's a cool nickname, but I just don't think they've said that on the show.
I think they've uttered it. It's been
been
mumbled once or twice, I believe.
All right.
So he's got 8 daughters, and Cersei is bitching about how power didn't save their loved ones.
His sister or her son.
Or Joffrey, yeah. And he says that, in talking about Cersei's daughter that was sent there, which we didn't really realize at the time that she was sent to Dorne, and she's hanging out with the Red Viper's daughters.
No, I knew that all along.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they were because we.
Well, I did. Dorne. I can't say that because I did make the mistake of thinking for a short period of time that he was a Tyrell. Okay. But he's a Martell, and as soon as I figured that out, that's where because that was the Imp's thing to root out the spy. Okay. In season 2, he did that when he was the Hand of the King. He said all the different cities he was going to send her to root out the person who's going to tell the queen. Yeah. And Dorne was the one who was promised, so they sent her to Dorne to marry a highborn. I mean, sounds like she's having a good time out there, according to Oberyn.
Yeah, and he tells Cersei that they don't hurt little girls there, and she says everywhere in the world they hurt little girls. And then she asks him to take her daughter a boat. Next season, it's going to be the daughter, and she's going to be doing that Lonely Island song, I'm on a boat, motherfucker.
Or boats.
Yeah, or boats, yeah. Then we cut to Podrick cooking a rabbit, and he caught it on fire, and he's stamping it out like an idiot.
Just because he just didn't skin it or anything.
Yeah, he didn't take any of the fur off.
Just sets the whole thing on fire.
And then Brienne asks him if he's ever done anything, basically, and he's like, no, I mainly poured wine.
Right.
That's about what I did. I just poured wine and fucked bitches to the point where my dick was so big that they didn't want to take money from me. Wasn't that basically what they were implying with him?
I guess that's what it was.
That had to be the implication, because if that's not the implication, I don't know what was.
That had to be it.
Yeah. So now and then she won't let him take off her armor, and then he explains that he basically just poured wine, and then
through the whole scene she's struggling with the armor.
Yeah, and then she says, "Can you just come help me with this?" And he lights up. He's like, "Oh, I get to do my duties.
Right, I get to do a do.
Get to do my doings.
Taking off armor.
Gets to do the do." So obviously they're gonna. I mean, is there something to be said for the fact that he's supposedly got this huge cock and she's like 8 feet tall? So it's like they're gonna mix someday.
I wasn't going there with
you don't
that,
think? No, you don't think they're gonna mix someday? You don't?
No, I don't think so. No.
No, you think she's gonna end up with Jaime?
No, I didn't say that either.
I'm just asking. What do you think?
Either her or Jaime, one of those two, is not gonna make it.
Think so?
Yeah.
You don't think they get a happily ever after?
No,
huh?
it's either. Her, if you had to do percentages on it, it's more likely going to be her than Jaime. But I think by the end of this season, one of them is not going to be with us.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
I don't know.
Do you have a hunch?
No.
Do you have insider information from the books?
I do not. No, I don't. Definitely not. I wouldn't do that.
Okay, good. That was a test. I don't know.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that. That
fucking books.
That would ruin the show for me.
Goddamn book people. I like that they're diverting from the book too.
Well, the thing is like with the whole Joffrey episode 2. Like, come on, man! If you'd have known about that, how much less cool would that episode have been if you'd have known that he was going to die at the end of that? Like, no way! I did not see that coming.
No, because you have the threat, this ever looming threat of him doing anything he wants to do because he's a fucking psychopath. Yeah, right. And then, yeah, huh?
No, I love it. But no, I wouldn't do that. I just think I just don't. I don't know why. I just the whole Oath Keeper thing at the end of that last episode. Just. Their kind of goodbye, and I think that was it.
You think that's it for them, huh? Man,
yeah.
I had the vibe that they would someday see each other again.
It could be. It's just a little hunch. I just don't think. I think one of them is going to die before the end of the season.
Okay. Then we go to.
I don't think it's going to go well when if she gets to the Vale, looking for Sansa. That's not going to end well.
Yeah.
She's going to fall through the hole.
Exactly. She'll be the one. She won't look. She'll step right over the thing.
It
like
would be
it's
just a
no big
complete
deal.
accident. Like there would no like bad blood or anything like that.
Ooh, what
She's
if she?
like,
Oh, no, never mind.
Oh my God, no, not there.
So we are at what is it? Casterly Rock? Was it Casterly Rock? Is that what it is? Or Castor?
Craster's Keep.
Crast. There we go. That's
that where
the
we
thing
went?
I'm talking about. Yeah, Crasters.
We're the mutineers.
Yeah, and
okay.
okay, so Locke is there scoping it out, and he basically comes across Brandon and whoever else. I don't know the rest of the group's names. I can never keep track of it. The one dude's just kind of like some Oracle douche that kind of he met along the way, and he's helping Brand.
No, they're both Reeds. They're from House Reed. They're
Okay.
It's a house like that. They live in like the swamp in the middle of Westeros, but they're loyal to the Stark family.
Okay.
So they're highborn.
But he's the one teaching Bran how to harness his powers, so
kind
to
of,
speak.
yes, absolutely.
Well, he imagines a great tree and says it's waiting for Bran, and says that the basic. I thought when his hand caught on fire that was his purpose, like he was done. Like,
Dude, no, I mean, like, was he using magic at that point? Like, I
don't
really
know.
don't understand what that was.
Maybe
like, all
that's
of a sudden
just
hand
one of
was
his
on fire?
powers.
Can he create fire like that? Like, is that like, geez? I mean, that's pretty cool. Like, if he can do that, then...
Why is he being a little bitch sitting there
But
tied up?
Okay, do you think maybe that's something like because that's the reason that he's sweating and like looks so sickly all the time is because maybe those are coming about, like that power is just
What, like it's
arising
draining him
in
or
itself?
something?
Or no, maybe it's just now coming around. Like he's just.
I
is
mean,
just
maybe
happening
he's
to
just
him.
figuring it out.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
That's
but that
possible.
looked like he knew what he was doing when he was talking.
Yeah.
And he just kind of lit his hand on fire. That was really a strange scene. I don't know.
Talk
I don't know what
about
to
being
take from
careful when you jerk off. Jeez. Imagine
Yeah,
that.
dude. With your
you
emotions
accidentally
going
turn that
everywhere when
on.
you're whacking off, and all of a sudden your hand's on fire. And
And
you
your
just scream,
hands on fire. That was the first thought. You see somebody's hand on fire, you're like, oh, that'd be painful. Don't forget about
I mean, I
that.
gotta admit that's not my first thought. My first thought was, can I shoot it? Can I project it out of my hand?
Can I shoot it? Okay, fair enough. But to be fair, that you could have been talking about jerking
Second
off still.
thought, I could have been.
So Locke is trying to keep Jon Snow from Bran. It felt like at that point that because he was off. He was like, okay, stay away from this part because you don't need to go on the left side. And let me tell you
Obviously.
why. There's nothing there.
Well, he was doing that because he, first of all,
Well, he
Bran
wanted
is
to
the
take
last
him.
actual Stark, and he was going to kidnap him.
Yeah, obviously. So, let's see. He, the guy comes in that I don't know who he is. The douchey guy that was kind of
The one that was in charge.
real
of Craster's Keep.
squinty and pointy featured. I don't know. Just
You're talking about the guy that was the leader of the mutinies.
Sure,
The guy,
the
the
mutineers
the
leader.
double knife guy. Yeah.
he tied up that girl and called her a highborn, and the brother
yeah,
says
that's
that he
the
saw
leader.
him die tonight.
Carl or something like that. I think his name, or Crawl or something like that.
He said the brother says that he saw him die tonight, and then he saw the snow bury your bones, and that's like literally as the Night Watch arrives on the scene, and Locke cuts Bran's leg and takes him, and
like Locke sneaks into the tent,
Yeah.
says like the rescue party's here,
yeah.
and then it goes the other direction immediately after that.
and
You
he
kinda
tries to get him to admit that he's
Bran
Stark, and he doesn't, but then he cuts his leg, and there's no reaction, so
he knows that he's
it's
the
him.
crippled lord, right?
Yeah, and he takes him, and Brandon takes over Hodor or whatever.
Hodor, that was a pretty cool thing.
Yeah.
Well, he nodded at the Oracle guy. I forget his name.
Yeah.
Reed. Jordan Reed, I think is his name.
Okay. Yeah, he was just telling him like, use your shit. This is the time to enact what
Do it
I've taught
now.
you.
Nodded
Use
at him
what
like-
I have taught you wisely, brother.
Gave him the old Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
You know.
So he does that, and as we see Jon Snow kicking ass, and
Which was pretty cool.
Yeah, he was whooping
I mean,
some
like I was
ass out
really
there.
thinking back, like that was like one of the first time we've seen him actually just straighten up killing people like that.
I mean, maybe
He killed the half hand, but it was
Yeah.
kind of like he let him win that fight.
Okay, maybe it's possible.
It
Yeah,
was his first like major fight like that, I think.
yeah.
But he was kicking ass for
He
sure.
was definitely kicking ass. It looks like he's come a long way from the Jon Snow of season 1.
Like I said, I think I've mentioned on the podcast, his whole screen presence, I think, is better.
He's
everything, the acting, he's becoming the leader, the way he was fighting on screen.
It had just so happened to work out that it also works as his character too.
True.
His development, it's like he was a scared little boy almost to start, and now he's evolving into, you know what I mean?
Right. Knowing that his dad and his brother are dead, and he's the last remaining, Stark. I think it does. I don't know. Like
so
I said,
the looming threat that we've had of Locke, where we knew that he was gonna fuck with Jon Snow, is immediately undone by Hodor killing him.
Totally thought that was going to last a lot longer.
Yeah.
But old Hodor just bent his head in half.
And then Brandon ends up back with Jordan or whatever the dude's name was.
We got to touch on a little interesting thing with Hodor there.
What was that?
When he lets him go, like when Brandon exits his mind or whatever you want to put it, you see Hodor kind of looking at the dead guy, like, did I do this or what? I don't want to do this. Hodor.
Yeah, I thought
I don't want to.
I thought for a split second he looked at his hand and he was like, Hodor, hello, Brandon. Would you like me to carry you back? I can help you on my back now.
Let me grab this knife and untie you.
Yes, I can now speak fluently.
Right.
You have unlocked the secret. I had to kill somebody. Thank you for doing that for me, sir. Hodor.
But yeah, totally picked the guy up and just.
Yeah, and then Brandon's like, go be huge and kill things. Like, go do stuff. Go be badass. And he runs away. And then he ends up back. You said the guy's name was Jordan?
I think so.
Something like that. Yeah. We'll call him Jordan. That he tells him, he says, do you want to find the three-eyed raven, or do you want to tell Jon?
He's trying to crawling towards Jon Snow, trying to get his attention.
Or do you want to get his attention because he's not going to let you go more north, and this is what we need to do, and blah, 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 with the tree having been waiting for him.
Right.
And
he wasn't going to let him go, basically.
He thinks that's the main purpose.
Okay, so let's go off topic. Not same topic, but let's go off the beaten path. Do you think Jon Snow would have let him go?
No.
No, I don't think so either.
Not a chance. Look at what happened to their fucking family. Their family's been destroyed.
And Jon Snow seeing the White Walkers and everything, he definitely would have kept Bran.
And he doesn't know anything about Bran's powers.
No, he knows nothing about any of that.
So he would think he's a crippled little boy.
And he would have taken him back.
Of course.
So
even if it delayed them.
But I'm just saying, you don't think Bran would have been able to convince him in any way to let him go at all? No, I don't.
Unless he did the warg stuff where he.
But still, even if I just don't, Jon Snow probably still would have been like, but no.
Everybody else is dead. You're coming with me.
You're staying here. You're the heir to Winterfell.
Let's see. So Brandon basically lets Jon Snow go, and Snow and the douchey guy fight. The head of the Crawl or whatever the fuck his name is. I don't give a shit. Don't matter. He dead now. Spoiler alert. He dead. The girl comes in and stabs him in the back.
Jon Snow a little bit.
Yeah, a girl comes in, stabs him in the fucking back, and as he pulls the knife out of his own back, turns around and is about to kill her, Jon Snow just stabs her right through the fucking head.
I mean, and mouth. I don't care if anybody's listening or anything that want to believe this, but right before that happened, I kind of whispered under my breath, "Stick Longclaw through his face."
Yeah.
And then, dude, the sword literally came out of his mouth.
Yeah, I mean, that talk about awesome. A badass fucking shot.
Fucking cool shit, yes.
Craziness.
And then the shot after that, the side shot, how he had the sword.
Oh, yeah, and pulled it out.
Pulled it out of his head. That was
good
fucking
stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, great stuff, right.
I thought he was going to say something to him when he was dead. You know what I mean?
He was dead as fuck. I mean, it wasn't really nothing to say to him.
Wouldn't you be tempted to say something like, "Slice to meet you"? Or
never.
Just some really bad pun based on the way he was done.
I just kind of like the fact that he didn't.
What's the matter? Sword got your tongue?
It's not really. It's not really Jon Snow's style. What sword got your tongue? That's pretty good.
Headache.
Oh wait, then what was that? It goes to them.
Yeah, then it goes to
that group of broads or whatever. The group of Craster's women.
Yeah.
Telling them to come back to Castle Black. They refuse.
And then that was where the one guy got away and Ghost saw him.
Oh right, yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, and then Snow and Ghost reunion.
Yeah, that was. You know what? They made up for it a little bit there for me with because the Brandon Stark thing was a little disappointing. Even though you knew that it was kind of off his path.
That's not the way that's not the way a story works. You know, it's got to be.
Like, he's right there, but no, we have to go. So we get the Ghost Jon Snow reunion, which was kind of like made up for a little bit, which I thought was a really one of my favorite parts of the episode was the Ghost Jon Snow reunion. I enjoyed that.
After the reunion, he asks the girls if they want to stay, and she spits and says, "Burn it to the ground," and all the dead with it, and they do.
Yeah.
And then we go to the end credits.
After the burning of Craster's Keep, that was a pretty awesome episode. I was thoroughly impressed.
It was good. It felt. You jumped up screaming you loved it, and I felt like we're in the middle of a season. That's what I feel like. I get that fucking vibe.
On second thought, I mean that was more I think of a reaction to that last scene.
Yeah.
Because the last scene was really exciting.
Yeah.
The rest of the episode was a little.
It just
kind of crawled along a little bit.
Why the fuck does this show feel like it crawls all the time,
because
guy?
I think there's just so much to it, and I think it's a lot more
shouldn't it feel like we have more coming at us than it feels like less is coming at us?
I don't know, man. I love it. I love every second of it.
I do, but I feel like
I want more. I guess that's how they keep us coming back, dude.
I don't think we're ever gonna get enough of it, and I don't mean that in the good sense. I mean I don't think even when it's done, it's gonna feel like there was too much left untold. I feel like maybe the book is the only medium that can contain a story like this.
Dude, with the level of detail
that's what I mean.
He goes about, you might be right. And I don't know.
Or they should have fucking done 20 episodes a season. God damn it.
I mean,
15.
Really, I just
something
think
more, so they could have really dove into everything. And
I just seriously don't think they have the budget for it.
But that would almost mean. It's the highest fucking rated thing on TV.
Yeah, I know that, but still, I mean,
what are they wasting?
I mean, it's.
Figure out a way to monetize it better. You're doing it all fucking wrong. If you can't figure out a way to monetize Game of Thrones, figure out marketing shit with all of the merch. I would buy all of this stuff, like this book.
Dude, seriously,
the fucking book thing, that's badass.
The things that they have done so far, it's a little sad because when I was at I was at C2E2 last weekend.
Yeah,
and they had. There's a company called ValerianSteel.com or whatever. They're licensed to make the HBO replica products, but they only make them full size. Like, who the fuck has got room to hang up full size weaponry in their fucking house,
or the money to pay $10 million?
Seriously,
for them.
That shit is expensive. Make the 1/3 scale weapons. That would be awesome. I have a few Lord of the Rings ones like that. They're 1/3 scale.
Yeah,
those. I mean, they're badass. They're small. They're small enough to set on a shelf. And that's what I'd like to see. Could
you still kill somebody with it?
I mean, I'll tell you what, the ring wraith sword that I have.
Can we try?
If you poke somebody in the neck with it, yeah, you'd kill him for sure. Definitely. I mean, that motherfucker's about.
Yeah, get yourself a 1/3 scale Jon Snow's sword.
The long claw, that would be badass. It comes in a little base that it's the end of it sticks in, so it stands up straight. Yeah. They're fucking awesome. I don't understand why they. I love that sword. But I don't want a full size fucking scale long claw. I don't need that.
You can't have the full size Game of Thrones throne in your house for $30,000.
No, they
cannot do that.
I think it was $95. They had a pretty good sized.
Well, if it was a little one, that's fine. It was a little one.
I'm not even talking about too big. It was. 7-8 inches off the ground. It was awesome.
Something that you could put a figure in.
When I was there,
a slouching Joffrey in.
It was between that and the White Walker statue, because they were about the same price.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know which one I would have got.
I have a little throne. When I got home and saw the one that I have, I was like, should have bought that.
Should have bought the big one.
But the throne is awesome. It's a perfect replica. The one that I have is not a perfect replica of the one on the show. The one that you're looking at is a perfect dead-on replica of the one on the show. Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, where do we go from here, Guy? What do you think is next?
Are we doing predictions, kind of thing?
It's talking about what do you think?
I think the story's really kind of starting to spread out with Daenerys to kind of deciding that she's going to stay over here.
Okay.
So, I don't think we're going to get any interaction between those two.
Because that felt like that was looming. That was inevitable soon. It felt like that shit was building for the past 4 seasons.
It's been building from the fucking beginning of the shit, dude. But I think that's a little bit of part of the surprise of the story is that maybe she's not so concerned with over there now, and more concerned with what she's been doing with freeing all the slaves and making this side of the world a better place, or what might not,
She could always, one of these days, can't she just fucking ride her dragon? Like, are we not at a point where she would ever be able to just fly over Westeros?
But I mean, she would just end up by herself.
Well, I know, but she's got 3
people.
dragons. She could take 2 people with her.
I mean, I don't think 3 dragons is just by themselves is enough. She'd have to have the rest of the army with her.
Well, I mean, at least to go see what the fuck's going on. It's like she's always tethered to the
It's not
army.
like the more important people don't already know that she has the dragons, so it's not like it would be an element of a surprise. They know she has dragons.
I'm just saying, not even to go to King's Landing, just to. Are they not big enough for her to fly on yet?
Dude, I mean, like, I'm thinking like that sea, the narrow sea or whatever it is, the one that is it's a long trip. Like, I don't know who the dragons would probably get tired.
Okay,
I mean, it's an animal,
enough.
you know what I'm saying? That they eat, they sleep, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could assume that they wouldn't be able to make a long, flight across the open ocean like that with nowhere to land and rest or anything.
I mean, in a world of no transportation, it seems like that would be being taken advantage of in some way or another, even if it was just for short-term or short location, research.
Well, you saw what happened when she touched it when it was eating and turned around and snapped at her.
Well, to be fair, they touched its fucking food.
Well, she didn't touch its food. She just touched it while it was eating. But
Yeah.
same thing a dog might do to you, But, I mean,
Just
I
gotta
don't know.
train
I'd be
that
too
shit.
eager to try to climb on its fucking back after that, I mean, a dog bites you get some stitches. Dragon bites you,
Lose a face.
it's it. Game over.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what's. Arya is going to continue on her path. I love that she has a list and has to say it to
direction. I think the only really like storyline kind of we got a conclusion to was Craster's Keep.
Yeah.
That's the end of Craster's Keep there. The mutineers at Craster's Keep and everything that happened there is all burned to the ground now. The only thing left are the women, and they're not going to have any bearing on the story left, so they're gone.
Yeah.
They're going to go off, and Jon Snow better get his ass back to the fucking wall.
Yeah. So, I mean, are the White Walkers still walking? I mean, or no, they stopped because they're back at their home, whatever their ice palace is, or whatever the fuck that place was.
Is that what we're supposed to assume by seeing them there? Was that they went
so.
back? Because they had a whole army of the dead that was kind of marching south.
But I don't know what that's what I mean. It doesn't make any sense with them. If either they stopped or...
You know what? Maybe that's probably part that wasn't in the book because it doesn't really logistically make sense because unless there's just a lot more White Walkers and that was just one White Walker maybe that's his job is collecting the fucking sacrifices. That's all he does. And the whole army and the generals and everybody are separate from that.
I don't know. I want to
are we
know
supposed
more.
to assume that we saw all of the White Walkers there is there, or or just some of them?
I mean, it was.
Like
it just
High
felt like
Council.
it felt like that exactly that. It felt like the high elders, the council.
Because the way that
of-
one dude looked different.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. The one guy that touched the baby,
Yeah.
the White Walker looked different than the rest. He didn't have the old face,
No.
like he looked a little younger.
I don't know if this is a spoiler.
Well, then why would you say it?
I said I don't know. I haven't said anything yet. What do you mean? I don't know if what I could say is a
So say
spoiler.
the following statement.
Yeah.
No.
It's the name of a character. That's it.
Coming up?
I don't know. Basically HBO on their what's coming up in the next episode thing or their summary, they called that guy something. The one who touched the baby. Something that's supposedly
something that then that's if it's already written down.
It's in the book.
Like synopsis or whatever.
it was in HBO's synopsis.
Then go ahead. Yeah,
They called the guy who touched the cheek the Night's King.
Okay, so then I guess we're supposed to assume that that's his. He's the king of the White Walkers then.
Something to that
The
effect.
Night's King.
I don't know, but it's the Night's King. What I heard was that he was. It's something that's is in the books eventually or something, but and it's like a fairy tale type of thing.
You know what, dude? That could be like that thing I was talking about, dude. You ought to get some. You ought to take my DVDs, dude.
I want to watch the
watch all
Blu-ray
those
things and see all the little behind.
I think
the
that one I'm
backstory
talking
things.
about is on the second season one.
Okay.
You might not, but you have that, so bust it out and check it out. Like those extras are really, really good for all that backstory stuff, dude. I'm telling you, they talk about the night. It's like the wildlings gods.
Yeah.
And the people that they pay tribute to are they like the wildlings like worship the White Walkers gods, I think. Like that's what I was talking about, that little girl from episode 1 that was hanging on the tree with the blue eyes that turn on. They have like pictures of her, like she was the one sitting on the throne, the dark throne and shit. And they were making sacrifices to her. Like it was a drawing, but it certainly looked like that little girl from that episode. It was really, really strange.
Did they make that connection, or did you? Did they say that connection, that it looked like the girl?
No, I made that connection.
Okay.
That's me. That's my opinion.
Okay.
But if you saw it, you would agree with me.
Okay.
Because they depict her as a little girl with the blue eyes and that curly hair in those drawings. I was like, man, that looks like that little girl.
Well, they did change it, FYI. HBO, within a matter of minutes, changed that synopsis.
Oh, did they?
And took it to and put in a Walker, or a White Walker.
Oh, so then
instead of a Night's King. So that's something that basically somewhere down the line, that's probably going to be that dude's name. And whatever goes along with that is going to be associated with that guy, I would imagine, or that White Walker. But who cares?
Don't necessarily think that was a spoiler.
No, but if we had read the books, maybe it would be. But this isn't the book, you know what I mean? So who gives a shit?
So you mean that might have been a spoiler for somebody who hasn't gotten that far in the books? Or
no,
I'm
saying it might be something where somebody who's read the book would go, "Oh, that they're talking about the Night's King. Yeah, he's blah 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 blah." Like people knowing the Red Viper before we saw him this year, they're like, "Oh yeah, the Red Viper. Yeah, of course."
Right. Well, that's why I'm saying. Like I'd heard the name, the Red Viper.
It might mean something to book people, but it doesn't mean anything to us. Is what I mean.
Well, that's the same. Like the same thing with the Red Wedding. We all started calling it the Red Wedding. They never said that on the show until couple episodes ago, was referred to as the Red Wedding. That was the first time it ever been referred to.
That's because people in the knew of it in the book. Yeah,
right. Bookies.
Yeah. So I mean, it's valid for it to tie. I just thought maybe they would look at it as like, oh, that's kind of a spoiler, but we don't know of it yet, so it doesn't really fucking matter. We can say the Night's King, and that doesn't mean anything.
It's the same thing as like finding out the Man in Black's name was the Man in Black. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, what point, like, if you would have called him a name... Oh, you mean
Barry? You remember the video where they revealed his name was Barry? It was funny. It was a joke video. It wasn't canon.
What I'm saying is, like, they never gave us his name. And it really, like, if they would have been like, oh, his name is Josh.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you would have been like,
oh, it's Josh.
Who cares? Yeah. It's the same kind of idea. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what?
I just want to point out for the record here.
I don't think that was necessary.
Lost was brought up, and I didn't bring it up. Just throwing that out there.
It was me. You're a son of a bitch.
I didn't touch it. I did not say anything Lost related.
You didn't. I'm proud of you for that. I'm proud.
There was something earlier that I was almost
disappointed as I am with myself.
Yes,
for bringing it up.
Goddamn right.
I'm just kidding. I love Lost. Don't get me wrong.
One of these days we need to watch through that again too. Maybe during the hiatus between 4 and 5 of Game of Thrones.
Do a Lost, a rewatch and a podcast?
Rewatch. Maybe. Yeah, do like a podcast every once a week about how many episodes we've seen. Just whatever we've watched in that amount of time.
Like 5 or 6 episodes at a time. We just go through that.
Yeah. It's not worth podcasting from the beginning again. I mean, each episode its own thing, but because we know where it goes, but it's still fun to talk about.
I mean, dude, and more the farther it goes, the more I forget about it. And
I wish I could wipe everything out and
just
start
wipe
over.
It all over again, do it again.
That'd be so good.
Okay.
Which I'm going to do. I'm going to make more of an effort. I know it's not really feasible. I mean, I guess I could probably get caught up. You started watching Game of Thrones from the start again after this season started, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
I think I'm going to have to do that. I think I'm going to make an effort now to watch an episode or two a night of Game of Thrones so that I feel like I don't remember all of these past things. I haven't learned it this show yet. I haven't got it in me yet where like
ingrained
you can ask me anything about Lost and I will
you do, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like fucking anything that's semi-common knowledge or even not. And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know that. I can figure that. I could put it together out of just via context." But this show, there's so many names and places and it's like they're trying to make it so goddamn hard.
It's a lot of information, and it's a lot of characters, a lot of different storylines that are even unrelated to each other, besides the fact that they're in the same show.
What I'd like to take out of this, what I think is a takeaway from this episode is that marketing is not being done right for shows like this. They need to be putting out more merch. They need to be putting out better merch.
Yeah, I mean, like from what I saw, the stuff at C2E2, all the officially licensed Game of Thrones stuff is not really that impressive.
And Jenna was telling me that I should go and get some of those things, and she was like, just order it online. And it was like, oh yeah, that's right. You just like going to those things versus ordering something on the internet. Whereas I'm happy to just go on Amazon and look for the best deal I can get.
I mean, I gotta admit, I was pretty disappointed.
Was there a $50 cover?
It was $40 to get it. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the thing. I mean, tell us.
C2E2?
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun. I basically went there to shop this time. I didn't really go to visit all the different booths and all that.
You had to pay to shop?
I mean,
that's kind of a bummer when you think of it that way.
When you think of it that way, it is. But usually I can find good stuff, but this year it just wasn't. Besides some of the Game of Thrones stuff I found, I didn't really find anything else.
Was it because you went on Sunday, you think? The last day?
That could have been it, but I
feel like, man,
I feel like I may need to wait a couple years and go back after a couple years. I saw some of the same shit, man. I've been seeing for the past couple years, and you see these same booths and these same people with their same crap that they haven't sold for the past fucking 4 or 5 years. You gotta let somebody like cycle through that shit a little bit. Maybe wait a couple of years and go back in like 2 or 3 years and see if there's some new shit.
Yeah, that seems fair enough. I think I'm going to throw one more prediction out there, and maybe it's not so much. It's just kind of where this episode is leading me. I think I don't think Tywin is as long for this world as I imagined him to be before I found out that he owes money to the banks. Maybe he personally doesn't, but I think he does. I think he's tied in that. I think he was telling Cersei that they don't have the money that she thinks they do, or that people think they do, and I think that that's going to come back to bite him. He's gonna keep that under wraps for a while because of his ties to the king, but eventually that's going to come back to bite them.
The Iron Bank of Bravos is going to come get him, huh?
That is absolutely going to come after him. And do you think that may have something to do with the Onion Knight, with that stuff that he was talking about with the bank?
I mean, he was getting ready to contact the Iron Bank of Bravos, I think, to ask for money.
Yeah.
So who knows, Maybe the Iron Bank will back him, and Stannis Baratheon will be the next king of Westeros.
That could be interesting.
Good predictions. Anything best lines?
I don't know. I like some of the stuff that Cersei said in this episode. I can't remember the exact line. Maybe I wrote it down here. It was Tywin's line. You don't make formal alliances with people you trust.
Right.
It just goes to the nature of this show and the way people are in this show.
Right.
Everybody's so fucking cutthroat
for themselves.
And it's just like we can't
family.
Even. Why would you marry somebody you trust? That makes no sense.
Right.
You only marry them to force a trust.
To do that and to further your standing or your station.
Yeah. So that was my favorite line, I think.
I think mine was I think the dog. The whole conversation between him and Arya about her dancing master, and how he just kind of just totally wrote the whole thing off. She was so invested in it, and he was just like, "The greatest swordsman in the world didn't have a sword."
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was good stuff. Yeah.
And the fact that she said that the Hound was on her list. There's a lot of good shit coming to roost.
Oh
this
no!
season.
His last line was so and so still alive because he had armor. and a big fucking sword.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that on that note, are we...
Yeah, we're wrapping it up for the
Wrapping it
week. Follow us on... you can subscribe on iTunes.
Thanks for listening.
Search for Comeuppance Network or whatever. And
anytime you buy anything on Amazon.com...
go through comeuppance.com.
Go through this website, click on the Amazon link.
There's an Amazon link right under this video if you're on comeuppance.com/live. If you're watching us live.
And then
if you're not
about
watching
shopping,
us live,
about some of the Game of Thrones things that we mentioned, click on Amazon.com before you go. Click on the Amazon.com link through this website before you buy anything.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Later.